none other than Alan Thicke.
Hey, Rich.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Think I got the wardrobe memo?
I think you did.
Got the turned-up collar, Eisen outfit.
Yes, you've got it.
I'm loving your set. I mean, you don't appreciate the scope of this on TV. This is bigger than my hometown.
Which is your hometown again? Exactly?
Kirkland Lake, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
For the far north, I tell Americans I was born between Wayne Gretzky and Shania Twain.
And they get it?
And my slap shot is about
that's about it?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, way up there.
We had your son on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard.
We had Robin here.
He's fun.
My gosh. He told a great story about involving Gretzky.
Yeah.
The day that Gretzky was traded.
Yes.
That you were out of town.
I was in Norway with my other son on a little vacation, and I picked up the morning paper in Oslo, and there were pictures of Gretzky all over the paper. Mm-hmm. The text was in Norwegian, so I don't know what's happening. And Wayne was house sitting at my place, babysitting Robin, essentially, who was about 10 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm concerned. I don't know what's happened, drive-by shooting, mudslide, earthquake. So I called home, and Robin answered the phone. I said, what's going on? And he said, well, nothing, stuff, And then they grabbed the phone out of his hand and said, Gretzky's been traded. There's paparazzi, there's helicopters, there's police. And he had gotten the call the night before. Yeah. And was off to Edmonton, and Canadians haven't been the same since. Yeah,
I imagine so. And Robin said that McNall called the house. Bruce McNall called. Yeah. So McNall's got your home number?
And he did, yes, and maybe still does. And when Robin answered the phone, he said, well, Wayne's asleep. And Bruce said, well, then wake him up. This is important.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. So when did you meet Gretzky? When he just started with the Oilers, pretty much?
Yes. He was 18. And I was doing a talk show in Canada, an afternoon show, and they were spending a lot of time in hotels, as you can imagine, as they traveled up there. So apparently I was fairly popular with the traveling NHL squads in the afternoon who had nothing else to do in the dead of winter. Right. And coincidentally, that very year that he came into the league, I was producing the NHL All-Star banquet. Held in the middle of the season, and that was the first time the game was ever in L.A., and I had agreed with Dr. Buss to produce the show if they gave the proceeds to my charity, which is diabetes. Mm-hmm. My eldest son is diabetic, so Jerry was extremely supportive, as were the Kings and the New York Rangers, in getting us started, and in fact, that event launched the very first Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation chapter in L.A.
No kidding.
We had nothing there until that. So that encapsulated many of our interests. I'm a sports groupie. Sure. Was raising money for diabetes. I met Wayne at his first. That was his inaugural All-Star appearance. Mm-hmm.
I'm here with Alan Thicke here on the Rich Eisen Show. So meeting Dr. Buss, as you refer to him, Jerry Buss, that means you're a Laker guy too?
I'm a homer, so I even support teams when they're 1-7.
As the current iteration would be.
I hadn't looked.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know what do you make of the Kobe endgame here with his career? What do you make of that?
It seems to be appropriate. He's having trouble with his back now, and we cataloged his injuries the last couple of years, and not shooting in a way that would probably even put him on the floor if he was a rookie. So I guess it's appropriate. It's a shame to see one of the all-time greats in the sport. But what we can all hope, I think, is that he has a good enough season, a healthy enough season, that he's an inspiration to the younger guys, to Russell and the other fellas who could learn so much from him, and that he goes out with a bang, scores a few points and hits in some important games, and he's been a gift to this community.
Yeah, Alan Thicke here on the Rich Eisen Show. And so Robin also showed a photograph of him with Tommy Lasorda from back in the day.
Oh, Robin's a good athlete. Robin, especially at basketball, and had he pursued sports, he probably would have had a scholarship somewhere. And he still plays some pickup basketball with some movie star friends of his.
I'm sure.
And yeah, I actually there is that shot of him with Lasorda, but I also have pictures of him. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there he is
I have
with Tommy.
pictures of him sitting on Magic Johnson's knee at that fantasy camp, and Michael Jordan's. Interestingly, like 10 years old, and Michael's got him on his lap, and then all these many years later, Robin sang at Michael's wedding, sang their first dance.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a kind of a kick to me as. As a Robin Thicke fan and as a sports fan, to see those things come together once in a while.
So when did you first come to this town, Alan?
I've been here since the early 70s. Not the 1870s, it was the 1970s.
Right.
And when I first got here, hockey was meaningless in town. It was like the old joke, you call up and say, what time's the game start? And they say, what time can you get here?
Right.
And Jack Kent Cooke, who owned the Kings, famously said, when somebody brought up that there were over 500,000 Canadians in L.A., he said, sure, they all moved here because they hated hockey, because he couldn't get anybody in the building. You could literally buy a ticket and sit on the bench. So I was involved in hockey and a bit of an ambassador even from the very early days here. Mr. Cook would encourage me to bring anybody from show business. I was writing a lot at the time. And he would say, please bring people that we'll give them great seats, we'll feed them, we'll give them some popcorn. And so I started a bit of a tradition of bringing some celebrities and getting them interviews. And
so which celebrities were you bringing down to try and get
Bob Hope, Gordon Lightfoot, some Canadians that I leaned on, Lightfoot, Rich Little, Trebek. Alex and I started the first celebrity hockey team here in town.
Is that right? What's Trebek's game? What's Trebek's game like?
Billy Crystal. What's that?
What's Trebek's hockey game like? Or is it, wait a minute, I should, or
he
should
had
I,
game.
Was that an answer I just gave by giving a question, I think it's?
No, Alex had game, and he played many years. We've had a lot of celebrities play with us over the years. Dave Coulier was a pretty good player.
Sure.
Tim Robbins, Dennis Leary, David Boreanaz from Bones plays. Priestley, Michael J. Fox. So we ultimately toured the country, toured North America, always as fundraisers.
Sure.
We weren't much good, any of us, but we made sure we brought a few NHLers with us.
Sure.
So that we always had some actual skill on the ice. But yeah, it's been my passion all these years.
Sure.
I come, the town I mentioned, Kirkland Lake, little small town, but produced an inordinate percentage of NHL players in the old days. It's a rugged town. It was a hockey. Only women had teeth in Kirkland Lake. I always thought that I was. A decent hockey player, but you get better as you get closer to the equator. The further south you move, I'd be big in Costa Rica, but in Kirkland Lake, everybody plays as well or better.
On the sloughs, right? Out there on a slough out there, pretty much?
Pretty much.
The sloughs of Kirkland Lake?
Yeah.
So did you, and you wrote some music as well, from what my producer Chris Law tells me.
I did. I wrote a bunch of theme songs. I mean, I don't consider myself a musician in front of Robin any more than I'm a hockey player in front of Gretzky.
Well, your son had to get it from somewhere, though.
But I wrote about 45 TV themes. And in fact, going back to the beginning of my relationship with the Kings and bus and diabetes, as soon as my son was diagnosed, I reached out to my closest friends who happened to be hockey players. So I wrote 2 songs. One was called The Hockey Sock Rock, which the New York Rangers recorded, and another one called Please Forgive My Misconduct Last Night, which was recorded by the LA Kings. And that was in the days of the Triple Crown line, Marcel Dion, Simmer, Taylor. And the Rangers were Esposito and Duguay and guys like that. So that became a giveaway item, as I said, the guys wrote a pretty substantial check to get us started. It was a bit of a novelty song, got some attention for diabetes, so served its purpose.
Yeah, we're seeing a video right now on the TV show.
My goodness.
Espo is singing. And
wow, that's...
Phil Esposito,
yeah, there's Esposito.
Number 14.
And Gil Gerard, who was at Battlestar Galactica, and the Unknown Comic.
From the Alan
Gong
Thicke show.
Show.
Yeah, from the Gong Show.
Yeah.
So did you write?
Wow.
Did you? So you wrote the Different Strokes theme? You wrote that?
I did,
song?
and I sang that.
So your voice is singing?
That's me on the Different
The world don't
Strokes.
move to the beat of just...
the world don't move. So I just got 11 cents for singing that. And I get royalties every year.
No kidding.
Yeah, and
the Facts of Life?
Facts of Life, I wrote that. I didn't sing it, but
okay.
Yeah.
And the Wheel of Fortune, did you?
I did the original Wheel of Fortune song that ran on NBC for about 8 years with Chuck Woolery. The show was owned by Merv Griffin, who...
Yes.
He saw what kind of royalties it was making, and he needed the money to buy whatever was left of the Bahamas that he didn't already own. So Merv, after 8 years, he put his own music on there, but I'm not bitter.
No, everything's worked out for you, Alan. Let's talk about the StubHub Let Your Fan Out competition. Tonight at LA Live before the Kings game, 8 finalists are participating in certain fan activities that you're judging? Is that what's happening tonight?
Me and Pia Toscana from American Idol, lovely
Yep.
girl who sings the anthem for the Kings games frequently, and StubHub, who would be happy to remind you that they're the world's #1 marketplace for tickets. They connect fans and tickets, and God love them for that. And when they got wind of me thinking that I was the #1 sports groupie in town, they said, wait a minute, we got a competition, an official competition, and we're going to call it Let the Fan Out and find the #1 fan and give them $5,000 in credit for tickets.
That's great.
1,000 of which they'll save in case the NFL ever comes to town.
That's right.
And they'll make it a big spectacle. People send in their videos on social media doing amusing and occasionally coordinated and funny, outrageous things. And they've selected a group of finalists. Pia and I will narrow it down and hand out the check.
You're going to hand out the check? That's tonight. So if people, that's tonight at, if you're around before the Kings game tonight in LA Live, go on and check it out and come say that the Rich Eisen show sent you.
Check out the fun and then go to the game. Good luck getting tickets. You see how the Gretzky effect
It's truly amazing. They're winning cups, Alan. Cups, plural, have been brought to this
and
town.
Anaheim. Don't forget the Ducks.
That's true. The Ducks, too.
Yeah.
Down there.
Going to be an exciting year locally in hockey.
Chris Law, you have the floor. I know you want to ask a question.
Well,
Go for it.
Grew up on Growing Pains. Huge fan of the show. Hey, did you have any idea kind of how big that show would get at the time? And then, what was it like? Because you and Joanne, obviously, the two adults, but you're working with kids pretty much the rest of the time.
Yeah, we went. We didn't think it would be much. We were going on against the A team, which was huge at the time. And we didn't feel we had much of a chance, but Who's the Boss was our lead-in. So they gave us a good sampling, and we were a hit right off the bat, which Tony Danza reminds me of frequently, and I occasionally send him a bottle of champagne. They were a great lead-in for the show, and as corny as it sounds, we were really a family. Very close. We're all still in touch, over any time there's a birthday or a Halloween party, any kind of celebration.
And Luke, the character Luke came in late, but it ends up being Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you have any idea at the time kind of what the talent was that you had there?
We kind of knew that Leo was special, and he was a great mimic. He was a funny guy. And, in fact, the world hasn't quite seen how funny Leonardo really is. What a great sense of humor, because he gets these great dramatic parts, and apparently he's had a good career. But one of these days, maybe he'll take a truly comedic role, and you'll love him for it. We had a lot of wonderful young actors come through the show because it was a popular show, and we had Hilary Swank and Matthew Perry, Brad Pitt. We had all the young ones, and some of them you really pulled for because they're nice kids, and some of them were spoiled little turds, and you're happy never to hear from them again. But we did get to see them all. Leo is one of the good ones.
No, that's good. Yeah, things are trending upward for that.
And
kid.
Robin, by the way, Robin and Brennan, my sons, were on a number of episodes. They'd come over and hang out with the cast after school, after their own school,
right? And
we'd shove them into a classroom scene or something, and they got residuals.
Now, this will be the last question for you, because I know you got to go. So many people say the NFL couldn't succeed here because fans wouldn't care. Since you are the #1 super fan, sports fan of Los Angeles, that's ridiculous to me. I think the NFL would be popular here.
Oh, I think care deeply. The LA fans are good, and especially when you consider how competitive this marketplace is. You have to win in LA. If you don't win, the people will quickly turn the dial and be watching, water polo from UCLA interfaculty level. But for a winning team and a team with a couple of stars on it, this is a great market, and it's been unfortunate that they maybe have been used as a little leverage, our market, over the years, and in terms of teams wanting to build a new stadium and using us as leverage against the town council in their respective venues. But I think LA will be a wonderful market, and will welcome the Chargers, the Rams, or the Raiders with open arms.
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
Now, personally, I was kind of waiting for the Patriots, but I don't see that. Maybe that won't happen.
No, I think they're locked in.
They're happy out there.
They're happy out there. It's all working out. Alan, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, my pleasure.
This is a blast, man. Alan Thicke, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Check him out. StubHub, Let Your Fan Out competition.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.